Got a strange one here today. Got a Ford C-Max plug-in hybrid that the vehicle will sometimes come on, it'll never crank, and then sometimes it's like this where things are kind of on but nothing is really responding. Like the dash will stay on for a while and then go off, and yeah, it's a little frustrating. And we have no comm with a PCM, a BCM, possibly a few other things, but like if we go to ABS, it tells us body control module, steering angle sensor, ignition switch issues, no comm with ECM, high-speed CAN bus. The battery voltage is because it was dead for a little bit, and then hybrid module. Yeah, this will be a good time to try out the new scope from Topdon, the Phoenix scope. So we'll see how this works out. Alright, so we got a 2013 Ford C-Max plug-in hybrid with obvious communication fault issues, just kind of weird stuff going on. And if I sound a little off today, it's because I've been sick for a few days. And it has been a crazy busy November, and December is starting off to be pretty busy as well. So that's why I've not been able to get too many videos out recently. I've just been so swamped. I've got a few videos that I've recorded. I just haven't had time to edit them. But anyways, let's get into this thing and figure out what's going on with it. And we're going to start off with just getting a diagram of the information bus, all the CAN bus, see what's in between our DLC and getting communication to the BCM and the PCM. Alright, so on all data here, we got a diagram pulled up. I went with the aftermarkets because everything's on here. It's got it all laid out pretty nice for this car, and it's actually a little bit confusing. So right here you can see we have our data link connector, and we got pins 6 and 14 highlighted. Well, it goes down to a gateway module. I did have one thing saying it had no comm with a gateway module, so we'll keep that in mind. So let's follow these high-speed data lines across and see where they go. And so far there's only been this splice here that splices it into the gateway module, which is pins 20 and 19. So from 6 and 14 off the DLC plug where we're plugged up at, just go across the screen. It says we've got a connector right here, C237, and then we have another splice right here, and up here we have our battery energy control module. They're calling it a BECM, and on the scan tool we had codes for in that module. Let's see, we have a U3000. It just says control module. I'm not real sure what that means. We got battery voltage codes, and then lost comm with hybrid powertrain control module, missing comm with DC to DC converter control module A, and then missing comm with ECM, and lost comm with battery charger control module A. So lots of different codes there. And if we follow this on around, we've got a junction connector right here that kind of splits it apart into a few different branches. We have ABS, we have communication with the ABS, and then charge port light ring. Since this is a plug-in hybrid, I do actually have had the customer bring his little plug-in charger with him, so I can plug it in if I need to. Secondary onboard diagnostic module C. SOBDMC that I do not have COM with, do I? There's secondary, I got the secondary A, no COM with secondary OBD control module C. So we need to keep that in mind. That is no COM. And then down here we have powertrain, which we know we have no COM with. Air conditioning, which we know we have no COM with. And then battery charger control module, which that one module says we have no COM with. So it's kind of a little confusing. If we have communication to the ABS module, which is right here, that means from our DLC through this splice pack, through this junction, back down through another splice up here is all good. Now some of these splices we may not have. I don't really know which way. I need to figure out how this goes, but I'm sure I'll figure it out on my way through this thing. I mean, it seems like the wiring is intact, at least to the ABS module. So if it's good to the ABS module, the charge port ring should have communication. This secondary should have communication, unless there's something wrong here. And then down here we have our powertrain and AC and this battery charger control module. So it's very strange, the things I can talk to supposedly and the things I can't talk to supposedly. Very, very weird. And like I said, every now and then, like, this thing will turn on, but like right now it won't. So let's get the scope hooked up, see what's actually going on with our data signal, since we know 6 and 14 from our plug here in the dash, the DLC plug on the dash, is supposed to go all the way to the ECM and the ABS and all that without going through any gateway modules. This is really just my first time really kind of using this. So there's a lot I've got to learn about how to use this scope. But just quickly looking at this, the cars actually kind of went more asleep, more things have turned off, and the scope pattern actually doesn't look that bad. If I go in here a little bit closer, that looks like pretty decent data packets. If I go in a little further, it seems like decent packets. There is a little bit of sharp rounded edges to channel 1, and the voltage seems a little bit smaller than channel 2. I think I've got my scales correct. Well, let's see if I can wake the car up again and see if anything changes. All right, see, everything's back on. I have a check engine light, but I still have no comm with it. And now you can see the scope pattern looks a little wonky. Let's go back out to about 1 millisecond. You can see that kind of looks like we've got an open circuit to some modules. Let's go in down to 200. So you can see every now and then we've got these two packets that kind of overlay each other. That's pretty much an open circuit. Almost every time I've ever seen that, that's an open circuit. I don't know how, I guess I can stop this. Yep. I'm not sure how I can go backwards. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta learn how to use this thing. Let's run, try to stop it on, there we go. See, this looks like an open circuit, kind of. This, I'm not real sure about what's going on right here, but that looks like a module with an open circuit. Let's move these, separate a little bit. You see how they're the same and they're overlapping? I'm pretty positive that's an open circuit in the CAN bus line. So this over here could be a terminating resistor kind of issue where a module is talking that doesn't have enough termination, possibly. Not real sure. That side's pretty messed up looking. But this side over here is definitely an open circuit to a module. This I have no idea about. This section looks good. So definitely some weird network issues. So let's try to get to probably that junction connector that we've seen in the diagram. Do some more scope measurements there. See if maybe we can't figure out what's going on with this thing. All right, so I've got out here to the battery junction box here. That's what it says right here, battery junction box. I looked at the OE diagram here and it looks like it's just a straight through. And the OE diagrams actually put the little box around optional stuff. So our charge ring may not have data. Not really sure if we're a PHEV or not. I don't really care. I'm trying to get communication to the PCM first, just to see if we can get this thing to run. But on here we've got pins 7 and 8, and it's a white and blue wire and then a white wire. And on our diagram we are still pinned into 6 at the DLC. So pin 6 on our diagram, let's get over here, is the white and blue wire. So on our junction box we are needing the white and blue wire, which is 7. Let's confirm that right here, 7. And I also have a connector view pulled up here just to know I'm in the right connector. I double checked basically the corner pins, make sure my colors match, everything is right. So then I just kind of moved them around. I know pin 1 starts on this side and it counts up this direction, and I don't know if I'm going to get you in there to where you can see this or not, but I'm back probed into pin 7 there, which is our white and blue wire. So I'm on the same wire here that I am here. So this wire and where I'm back probed here is the same. Well, the scope shows us the truth. We have an open circuit between here and here. How do I know that? Well, let's just stop the scope here. You can see right here how the packets are opposite of each other. Well, that's because we've got an open circuit. Same over here. Same with over here. And over here we can see that we actually have a terminating resistor issue. So we're low here. Let's run this a little bit, and let's go out a little bit. Both of these are the CAN high side. Let's stop this, and you can see that when this one is high and we have good packet, like I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Hopefully the screen capture will pick up this a little better. We've got a nice square here. This side's a little wonkier looking Okay. And then over here it's kind of right opposite. We have good square and then wonky on the bottom. So we're in the same wire. We're just seeing two different data packets kind of going through, terminating resistors the opposite direction. Hopefully that makes sense as to why they look like one's can high and one's can low. They're the same. They are the same. So right now, if we go out to our scan, let's see if we can talk to the PCM. And of course we're not going to be able to. If we do, it's going to be a crazy miracle. Not responding. Okay. So, and is the dash still on? Let me check the dash, make sure the dash is still on, because this thing goes to sleep weird. Yep, dash is still on. So everything's still on. So here's a quick thing we can do. We can take our stackable leads. Let's just stack this into that and stack this into this. Do you guys hear that in there? Clusters dinging. Now let's see if we can talk to our PCM. We're getting a little further. It's doing some stuff apparently, because it would have already aired out by now. Look at this. We can talk to it. All right, let's get a full scan again. We'll let this run through and see what all we get. Look, now we got BCM. We didn't have RCM a minute ago either, which is a restraints control module, which is oddly enough on the opposite side of the gateway module. So we may still have more issues than just this one wire. But already we've got BCM, PCM. Look at that. Now we got restraints. We're probably going to have full comm with everything now. Look, yep. This I don't think we actually have the gray ones. But now we've got a full scan. Let's clear everything. So far, looking good. Everything's turning green. That went back gray. I'm not real sure why that went gray. That went gray. We may have things turning off for some reason. Let's see if we can get this thing to crank. This thing's been sitting for a while, so I don't know. It may not run. Let's see. See, we still got check engine light on. Let's turn this off. We don't need that. Let's push the brake and hit the button. I'm not sure how you make this thing crank. Before, you couldn't shift this out of park either. I don't know. Maybe because the door's open? Parking brake. I can turn it off at least. Before I couldn't turn it off. Not real sure here. Yeah, I don't know. I think we still got something going on. I feel like it should have tried to crank or something. I don't know. I don't really know anything about this thing, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of reading. It may just be because the doors are open. Who knows? So I've cleared everything, done a rescan, and the BCM is setting codes with LOSCOM with HVAC, LOSCOM with remote function actuation module, the secondary OBD control thing setting a hybrid powertrain battery prohibited. That's kind of strange. I'm gonna have to do some research on that. Driver front door module is missing BCM COM. The RFA medium speed CAN bus. So maybe these missing BCM comms is on the medium speed, because it does talk on medium speed and high speed as well. And then passenger door module lost comm with BCM. HVAC BCM IPC initial configuration not completed. So it looks like I'm not done. I have kind of, I guess, fixed high-speed data by just jumping from the DLC to right here. So we know for a fact we've got a broke wire from here back to the DLC. So I'm going to trace that down, and from the diagram here we can kind of split it up a little bit. We've got this connector right here, all right, and if we've got good data to that connector, then we've just got just a short little section that we have to check too. But we definitely got to figure out what happened to our CAN line from the DLC to here, and get that fixed. And hopefully we might even find what's going on with this medium speed CAN line as well. All right, looking over the OE diagram, I kind of broke this down a little bit more. I knew if I jumped from here to my DLC, I could restore communication to these modules. Things are kind of happy. And I knew my pre-scan, I could talk to the ABS module. So it told me from this splice to here, I had an issue. And I thought that maybe I had a little rat's nest under here. So I got this all out, and you can see my white wire kind of right there. Everything is good. That white and blue stripe wire that's twisted together, it runs back in to this harness just fine. Let's see, right there. So it's actually fine under here. So the ABS is right there. So my issue is somewhere between here and that ABS. And I got my camera down in there because this is not going to get down in there and see it too well. But there is some chewed up wires down in there. So yeah, I don't know if you guys can see that one little strand there completely chewed in half. Luckily, the fender liner has already been taken out of this thing because it was being checked at the PCM before, and I can actually get right up in there and hopefully get these wires where I can fix them. Now that I got it kind of took apart a little bit, you can see our broken wire here, and yeah, it's still not a fun place to try to fix. I was able to pull the harness completely out from the fender, out under the hood here. It's gonna make it a little easier, but that's still gonna be a very tough spot to get in there and solder a splice back together with, but gotta do it. Just got that finished, soldered back together, run back through, and that's a tight spot to get to. And as you can see from this picture I took, it was so close to the splice pack. If that rat had just chewed a couple more inches up, we would have only had one module that was no com instead of 3 or 4 or however many it was. Oh man, but yeah, hard spot to get to. I'll show you guys the bottom side here where I've got it kind of re-taped all back together, got everything rammed back how it was. Now let's do the moment of truth. Let's get in this car, see if it'll do anything. I'm thinking there might still be some medium speed can issues, because when I scanned it that last time, we seen some medium speed can codes. But let's see if something happens. I also had, while I was doing that, I had the battery disconnected, so everything's been wiped clean as far as codes and everything, or for the most part. But let's see what happens. Hey, we've got a green light and a ready to drive. Let's see if we can wake the engine up. Usually you can just pat the gas a little bit. Yep, it's a running. She cranked and ran. Okay, all right. We do have a check engine light on. You can see right there, but it's running. Let me get the scan tool connected back, and I'll get another scan on this car and see what codes we got going on. Alright, so I'm not real sure if I'm having scan tool issues or if the car still has issues, because like the PCM says it can't talk to the cluster, the BCM says it can't talk to the HVAC module or the RFA. The RFA says we got medium speed CAN bus issues. I mean, there's lots of weird COM codes, and I'm not sure if it's an actual car problem or a scan tool problem, because when I scan the car, it kind of turns the car off. It puts it in a weird mode, and I thought before it was just the car being weird, but no, it's actually something to do with when I'm scanning the car. It puts it in a weird mode where it's trying to turn off, but it actually can't turn off until I try to clear the codes or do something else with the scan tool. And it just kind of acts up for a little bit. It's like almost like when it scans the medium speed, it throws it off. Let me hit scan again. We'll let it go through, and I want to see if it does it with the dash again, where it kind of turns it off. It even comes up and says, like, thanks for driving a hybrid, things like that. So let's see if it happens again. It's almost finished. See? See, the air comes on, but the dash goes off. Thanks for driving a hybrid. It is when the scan tool finishes scanning. Like, it's so bizarre. Like, it'll sit here like this until I do something else with the scan tool. So let me show you what I mean. Like, so the screens went off, but we're still lit up here. Radio's still on. HVAC's on. But let's click the HVAC. We're gonna hit enter. And now the dash comes back on. And look at that, not responding. So I feel like it's almost like a scan tool issue. So I'm not real sure. I think I'm going to finish putting everything together out under the hood, get the wheel liner and all put back in, get the wheel back on, and probably just go drive this thing and maybe you scan it with a different scan tool and see if we still have a similar issue with a different scan tool. Alright, so it's the next day. I had this thing on its charger all night. I drove it around just a little bit this morning. The range, I don't know if you guys will be able to see that or not, but it was at full battery and only said 17 miles. And the only message or codes we get is for the service tire mobility kit. Not really sure what that is. And the Snap-on did do a code scan, cleared all the codes earlier, and I've drove it a little bit, and we just get a code in the body control module for a brake light bulb, it looks like. And that's pretty much it. These are old permanent codes. They're not resetting. Misfire monitors have ran. The rest of this stuff, it may take a while for all that to run. Because it is a hybrid and the gas engine doesn't run all the time. And we're also not in an emission state, so I'm not going to drive it until the monitor's complete. It does drive. It's been sitting a while, and the brakes are a little rough. The tires are a little flat spotted. I did have to put some air in the tires, but let's just take this for a spin. And as you can see, we've got the green ready light, so we'll put her in reverse. She moves, and we'll take it down the road and deliver this thing. The shop that commissioned it to me is actually just right down the street, so I'm gonna take it to them and let them bring me back, and that'll be it on this one. It does run off just the electric battery, electric motor for a good little bit. It does regenerate. I don't know if you guys will be able to see that when I brake or not. The battery will swirl. So let's take it down the road. So we're still electric. I know there's going to be a glare. So it drop down to 12. If I hit the brakes, you see the little spinny thing there? But she runs. And if you give it some gas, now the gas engine's on. So not too bad. Like I said, it does need some tires, needs some brakes. It's been sitting a really long time. Other than that, I might be needs an alignment maybe. But it runs. And so far, I've drove a couple miles just up and down the street here, and no issues other than tire vibrations and rough feeling brakes, which the majority of the braking is the regenerative braking. So it might even take it a little bit longer for the brake pads to wear all the rust back off the rotors and things. So, but that's it for this one. This was a fun little car. I don't get too many hybrids in. I wish I did. I like working on hybrids. I think they're fun, they're interesting. So if you like the video, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe if you've not already done that, and we'll see you guys later.